As you were hearing Norman Floyd Barnes, he understands the fact that China is watching, and he has deliberately created this issue where China is observing the elections here being held in Bangladesh. And very recently, the interim government has passed, and if not talked about, an agreement with the US regarding various issues, which of course includes garments as well as chemicals, machinery and motor vehicles, medical devices, etc. There's a huge exhaustive list. And they were seen to try to get this deal done before any kind of elected government were to come in. And of course, your observations for the 13th national elections that is happening today and is still continuing another 2 to 3 hours for voting.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the other guest in the discussion. Yes, today is the big day for Bangladesh. Bangladesh is witnessing an election, and I personally visited 2 or 3 polling stations. I find as this point of time is a very festive mood. People were deprived from participating in the election for the last 3 national elections. There were actually no election in the fascist regime. There was a partial election and an arranged election, which people has rejected, and the turning out of the voter was very, very low. We see that there all were arranged game, and as a result, the fascist has fallen. Now, this election has taken festive because of many reasons. The young generation, which constituted 60% of the voters, 4 crore voter did not get a chance to vote any time. The first time they are casting their vote. So there is a aspiration that Bangladesh will have rule of law, justice, democratic practice, accountability, and most importantly, a country free of corruption, free of extortion, free of discrimination. So that's why people has come out by all walks of life to cast their vote. I stay in Banani. I find there are a lot of rush for the voting. So in few hours, we'll come to know that where people has voted. I think this is a real democracy where some voter can vote at their free will without any intimidation, fear or pressure. So that the voter can choose their representative to the parliament, and parliament can be functional. In parliament there can be democracy practice, there can be debates. So this is by all accounts so far as on this time is good news we are hearing around. There was no big untoward incident reporting so far. So I think the people has got a real chance to vote and elect their representative, and this is a good step to march forward for the democracy. Bangladesh democracy is very fragile, very weak. We have not developed this culture that the losing party will really accept with good spirit the winning party, and in many times the losing party makes some excuses and bring allegations always. I don't know what will happen this time, how the losing party will react, and if the election is free, fair, so there is no reason that the losing party will not accept the election. So
Right.
People are looking forward to see the elections, that how the results are coming out. I hope it is established fact in Bangladesh that any election under any political parties is not free and fair, and all the time if the election is under any other arrangement like caretaker government or the interim government is being fair and free. So this is under the interim government, and this election is going to be free and fair as we hope. So this is again a testimony that if the state want, if the political party accepts, so there can be good election in a fragile democracy like Bangladesh. So we are very keen and interestingly waiting as the events are unfolding, and after 10 p.m. of night, really the result will be start coming, and we will see that people whom they have chosen. So that will be very interesting, and I hope that this election should be free of violence and coercion, and aftermath of the election, the peace will remain. The peaceful environment shall exist, because there are history that after the election there are violences, more violences after the election, and a huge number of law enforcement agencies are deployed in the field and they are working professionally. Earlier, these law enforcement agencies were distracted by the fascist regime to work in their behalf. In today's election, the whole state mechanism is working very professionally so that the voting right can be casted at their own choice. So, people will have the freedom to choose their representative the way they feel like. I think people is going to select, people are going to uphold the rule of law, justice, democracy, and most importantly, a society free of extortion, free of corruption, free of bribery, and most importantly, a society without discrimination. People will have their rights without intervention. So, we are looking forward. Personally, I feel the parties which really can uphold a democratic society, a just society, a society where the rule of law will prevail, they should come up. This is my prayer and expectation. Thank you.
We can do a compare and contrast with the past and whatever that is taking place today. We see the interim head, the chief advisor Muhammad Yunus, also coming to the voting center to cast his vote. As the same center, Mr. Tariq Rahman is also there, but historically way back in 2014, 2018 and also very recently 2024, we've seen that the votes has been casted the night before. It usually on popular discussion debates, it has been known as the night vote and how the fascist regime has kept its hold on power. But compared it to today, there is a higher turnout, and of course people are taking to social media saying that some have voted for the first time, even while they are of the age of 30. Of course, the minute you become an adult, after 18, you are ready to be voting as a young voter for the nation. And this time around, a difference has caused importance on global scale. We have voting for those who are active in other nations, the migrant population, those who have left their homeland and is trying to make it big in other nations in the Middle East, which most Bengalis over there are also having the chance to vote this time around. I want to ask Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, the involvement of this migrant population that lives outside, how important do you think it is, especially because right now one can definitely understand the ousted regime and its party has been defunct to a certain degree and has been questioned and has been declared illegal, and all of its activities has been suspended. And even in the neighborhood that they belong to in Gopalganj, as a history says, people are saying that there have not been any kind of turnout. So I want to understand your compare and contrast with 2018's election, 2018 election, and what you are seeing today.
Not only 2018 elections, 3 elections were spoiled. This is absolutely manipulated. The election 2014, 2018 and 2024. Look, it has got a historical background. Though Awami League led the war of liberation, but right after the liberation, they failed to establish democracy, rule of law and justice. The party basically dominated by their relatives, sons and daughters. So, instead of rule of law, a crony capitalism has developed, and wherever the dynasty politics prevailed, and one of the offshoot of dynasty politics is crony capitalism.
Crony capitalism, yes.
Anywhere this dynasty rule has gone, nobody could avoid the crony capitalism. The reason the Suharto failed, Saddam Hussein failed, and any dynasty politics you said. So, the legacy developed by Awami League in 70 to 75, and the last nail in the coffin was Bakshal, introducing on-party system.
Right.
And the impression they developed in 71 to 75, they never tried to remedy that impression. They never bothered. They have only in their mind the party in favor of liberation and anti-liberation. This liberation and anti-liberation has destroyed them. They could not control any of their relatives. So ultimately, they have collapsed. And nowhere in the world happened like that. That whole family has fled away. Today, I heard a audio message of this fallen Sheikh Hasina, this fascist Sheikh Hasina. She said that nobody should go for casting the vote. And she has established democracy. You see the level of lying, level of not understanding the reality. Before fleeing, she said that she wanted to go to Kotalipara, Tungipara, and she has been forced to go to India. Is the fact? No way, nobody can trust it, because before 2 days of fall, before 2 days of 5th August, she issued a warning to her relatives to flee away, that everybody should flee away. So she knew everything. So she is never repented and never realized her position. So Awami League is the biggest problem in Bangladesh for development and for the democracy. So with that legacy, the other party sometimes has to follow the suit. That's why the democracy has never taken the real route. Now they believe whatever they feel like they will do, they will by their sweet will, and there is no question of good governance, rule of law and justice. They think that this is their paternal property. So people has given the response. And one thing has established, whenever the people get the chance, get the opportunity, they really judge. They never fail to judge correctly. So in this election, they will judge correctly, because at the end of the day, the people have their real perception and they vote accordingly. So this legacy is a failed legacy. That's why in Bangladesh, nowhere in the world that in the history of 55 years, the 6th time the revolution has taken place. That means the some party comes in the name of democracy and they turn autocrat, like what Hitler did or what Mussolini did. They came in the cover of democracy, but they turned state autocracy. So that's why, as you said, that the plebiscite is very important. Our constitution must be amended that the constitution facilitate to create the autocracy, because all the power lies with the prime minister. There is no balance of power between the president, prime minister and the parliament. There is no democracy. So the party becomes one-man party, the parliament becomes the one-man parliament, and all power vested on the prime minister. So anybody is their prime minister, he or she is bound to become autocrat. So balance of power is very important. You see that American constitutional framework, they have given 4 years time for the tenure of the presidency,
right,
and not more than 2 terms. When Barack Obama retired from 2nd term, he has so much of physical fitness that he went for the water ski. So that reflects his fitness. Had it been Bangladesh, he could say it, his followers, his slaves could say that you are so much of physically fit, let's continue. So American constitution didn't allow that. It is the constitution, it is the systems which will really prevent a autocrat to rise, a autocrat to create. The Bangladesh constitution sometimes in favor of creating an autocracy. So that's why the plebiscite is very important.
Right.
And Awami League has come out covertly, vote for no, and many other party, maybe covertly they have said vote for no. That will be another disaster. That means you are indirectly supporting the autocrats, you are supporting the fascist. So that's why people of Bangladesh will really choose whether they will go for yes or no. Yes should come, I believe, because it is the change which people believe in.
Right.
The change must be taken place to uphold the honor and degree of the sacrifice. So much of sacrifice, so much of injuries, so many thousands people lost their eyes. If there is no vote winning, that will be betrayal on the demand of this 5th August.
Of course.
So I think it is the people who always make the right decision. If Bangladesh really wants to take off, Bangladesh must follow the democratic process.
Of course.
There is no alternative. And Another very important thing, that the political parties should reform themselves. The reforms should start within the political parties. Political parties should be democratic, and accountability should be upheld in the political party. If political party wants to curb corruption, 80% corruption curb in the political front, and 20% will be taken over by this SEC and all other organizations. Right. So the main responsibility to uphold the spirit of 5th August lies with the political parties, whoever is coming to power. And as my friend John said, there are a lot of challenges. Really, there are a lot of challenges. Whether this upcoming government can meet up the people expectation, can go with the rule of law, can really control their supporters, control their leaders, that is the big challenge. And it will be also a challenge that the top leader can really set example of transparency, accountability, especially can remain free of corruption. Corruption held in two accounts, from the government plant and for the private sector. Right. If the government increase the electricity bill, gas bill, water bill, and in the name of project, if the project estimation is multiplied 4 times, that is the biggest corruption, biggest extortion. That spoils the people's money in a huge way. Any project, the estimation should be like $1 lakh, and that makes 4 lakhs, 4 times, 10 times sometimes. That is the biggest extortion, which general people sometimes doesn't understand. This official extortion to the private extortion. Somebody is doing a small shop and he has to bribe someone. Why a country should have
this kind of system? Yes. So a nation should not have this kind of system.
The rule of law, and there we hope that the one Rahman, Shafiqur Rahman, is preaching for the rule of law, and the other Rahman came from London and stayed 17 years in London. He has seen how a political party is being conducted, activities, how the political party remains without corruption, how the political party's member can be taken into the accountability. And he has seen the Westminster democracy. I hope if he is elected, he will uphold what he has seen 17 years staying in London. And if this other Rahman, Shafiqur Rahman ways, their place is to rule of law. So we will be waiting to see that how this upcoming government is really ensure a country, a just society, free of corruption, rule of law, free of extortion, and must practice the democratic norms and values that the people of Bangladesh is looking forward.